What's good, everybody? Yo, you already know it's your get here, Mr. Logic. Allow me to introduce my lovely co-host.
Hello, you guys. Good evening. Good evening. It's your girl Nate.
Make sure if it's your first time, yo, you hitting that like and subscribe button, yo. And we got a fair treat for y'all. We got Lewis on the one and O's tonight. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. So without further ado, allow me to bring us in. This is one thing for sure.
Two things for certain.
Oh man. So we have to keep tradition up, yo.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I apologize for my demeanor. I'm a little bit, tired, as we all.
It's okay. It's okay.
But I'm curious, how was your week, love?
It was good. It's always better when like you use some of your PTO so you don't work. I don't know about you guys, but I have such a hard time sometimes, like just getting out of my bed and just doing anything. So like yesterday, I spent all day doing absolutely nothing. Nothing.
You procrastinated the whole day? Is that what you're saying?
Like when I tell you, I am a disgrace of a human being. I woke up, ate breakfast, watched some TV, and then afterwards, I was on TikTok all day. All day. The only time I got up was to take my cousin to work and pick up my sister from school.
How long would you say on average when you have nothing to do for the day?
Oh my God, all day.
Be on TikTok hours wise.
Oh my God. I
Truthfully.
not even exaggerating. Like I want to say I started going on my phone around 11:30, close to 12.
Mhm.
And I was on my phone until like 2:30. And then I took a nap on my phone, like jumping from app to app. And then I took like a mini nap. And then, I picked up my sister from school, got back home, ate some more shit. And I just did some stuff later with her. Like sometimes I get very disappointed in myself because I'm on my phone and I'm just like, I should really get off TikTok. Oh, but one more video, just one more. And then I look down and I'm like, oh, it's been 5 hours.
Like you say that casually. Let me ask you something. Do you think you're addicted to it?
Yes.
You really think you're addicted to it?
I'd be lying if I said no. Like, why else would I be?
Would you be willing to sign yourself up? Just a fun game between us that we don't use our phones for a week.
How would you even know if I'm using it?
We're going to submit our phones. We can get a burner phone for like $20-$30. Put your SIM card in it. We use that as a phone. That way you can't go on internet. You can't distract yourself. And we see how we do in a week.
I'd be down after the semester ends.
Why after the semester ends? Why can't you do it now?
Because I have a WhatsApp group chat for like.
You can still use that.
No, I can't.
Yeah, you can.
I can't have WhatsApp on my iPad. Like I have the marketing club that I'm a part of. Like I need to constantly be like replying and doing like work for them, like a little mini job. So it's over once the semester ends. So once this semester ends, when I don't have to do homework or like work for them, then I'd be down to do it.
Okay, so you heard it out there, got the dragon's mouth, yo. She's gonna sign up. We're gonna see how we do. I think I would be perfectly fine.
I'd be down. Anything to just get me to just stop.
Break it down. Hammer time. I mean, social media is very vindictive to certain degrees and very it's just fake as shit. Like it's truly fake as shit, and it'll make you feel like you're doing something wrong with yourself. And I find it crazy how emotionally that we're attached to it. And I use the words emotionally because that's literally what it is. If you think about it, if I were to cut off most people's access to the internet or social media, it would disturb them on an emotional level. Some would cry, some would become anger. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
How bad is it that you're literally emotionally tuned into something that exposes you and robs you of your secrecy and your independence?
Oh man,
I just have to phrase it like that. I'm sorry, I'm gonna be a fat ass. As you guys know, I'm hungry. I'm fucking starving. Excuse the, what do you call it, mukbang noise?
The ASMR chewing. Oh, okay, you caught it. Munch, 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 munch.
But continue.
But yeah, I mean, I would love to do that little dare deal with you. Sometimes I have to be forced to like do something if it's like for my own good. Because if I do it out of my own free will, I have to really see, like, want it and see like a purpose for it.
So would you say you lack the discipline?
I do lack the discipline. I'm gonna be completely honest with myself. Because if I'm at home and I don't really like have any errands to do or just like minimal chores, like something so quick, like I'm just like, I have nothing to do. Might as well just go on TikTok. Because I literally have nothing to do. So that's my excuse. But I could be doing something better, you know.
At least you're real enough to acknowledge that. You know how many people are in denial and make excuses of why they can't?
Yeah, I get
like
you.
a lot. Oh, you know, it's for work, and I check on my friends so I can see what's going on just in case they need me. I've been like, bro, back in the day, we just called 1-800-COLLECT. Yo, we're at this McDonald's. We're not there. We're at this park. Like, you had to leave like scavenger hunts type shit. That you had to find us. And I miss those days.
Oh my God.
Simpler times. So,
how was your day?
My week is definitely been problematic, a blessing, scary, horrible. As some of you guys knows, I actually shared it on social media the other day. Your man's got into a car accident, and it was a bad one. Apparently, I did hit the windshield. That's how I got this scrape on my forehead. I wasn't really sure.
You hit the windshield?
Mm-hmm. So I already know I'm getting the looks and whatnot. The only thing is I can say I had the right of way, and I honestly wasn't speeding. And it's good to have it on video because when I rewatched the video, it helped me out, like better understand, like if there was I'm just happy there wasn't a way out. Like it was already set in stone. Because I feel like if I would have watched the video and I know I could have done something different, that would have ate me alive. Now, the reason why I'm going to go deeper into detail on this, man, we're talking about November, men's mental health. There's a lot of shit going on. And I'll use myself as an example. You know, sometimes our male ego can get in the way of common sense. And the reason I say that, because after I got in my car accident, obviously I'm dazed, I'm confused. I opened the door, and I honestly have no clue what's really going on. At that part, it started to take. But as I keep moving, I kept feeling pain. But it's like your adrenaline is like,
yeah, sky
yeah,
high.
you're just trying to figure out what's going on so you can get a grasp of things. And because I had so many significant injuries before, they're like, yo, please let us take you to the hospital. Because I'm thinking like, yo, you know how much they're going to charge me? That's like a fucking $5,000 ride.
I know, Jason, but sometimes you just got to bite the bullet.
No, I agree with you. You're right. But at the same time, you look at something like that and it's like, that's not supposed to happen. I'm always cautious. I'm always on point. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And the reason why I tie that into mental health issue is because a lot of us guys, and I'm not proud of this, you guys had to check me, which I'm appreciative that you guys even checked me after the accident and getting discharged from the hospital. I went right to work. And now as I reflect and think about that, I'm like, why am I doing that? Why do we do that? Not just as men, but as people, where we put our jobs ahead of what's really important, and that's ourselves. Because without us, shit ain't happening. Shit ain't moving. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of fucks me up to a degree when I think about it, because it's like, dog, I literally should not have walked away from this car accident. And my dumb ass is just thinking about how am I going to get to work? Like, that's how far gone we are. And I say we because I'm not the only one who thinks that way. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Imagine you rather sabotage yourself and your well-being in order to make the 1% happy. And I say the 1% meaning your successors, your boss, your supervisor, and they really have no idea what's going on. I'm thankful for my team because when they saw me, they're like, yo, what the fuck are you doing here? Yeah. But it's like I have programmed myself to pick up sticks and keep moving and get shit done. And I do owe you guys an apology. I owe my family an apology because I realized, I should have just stayed and chilled and not have taken it to that level. But as I want to get into the topic of mental health day for men, I understand there's women who go through a lot of mental fights as well. It's just today is designated from
Right.
this month is designated for men. What are some, since our last conversation, because this would basically make a year to the same topic, just a different day. What are some things you have noticed when it comes to your man, and also things that you have brought to life of your hardships coming into the light and how you handle it? Because I'm not saying, I know you're,
Right.
you're good, but I also know you have your times where you just sometimes feel defeated. How do you bring yourself out of that?
So
I'm gonna take your chips again.
Just finish the whole thing. It's okay.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. You have a boo-boo, so it's okay. But I would like to point out something before I answer this question. I would just like to be very clear that Jason right now is like slugging his eyes as he's talking because he's very tired. And me and Lewis had specifically told him, don't come. Can you please turn off his mic while he's chewing, Lewis? Oh my god, I can't concentrate.
I'm sorry, I'm starving.
No, I know. It's just I can't concentrate. That's literally giving me like a pet peeve. Thank you. Okay. Like I was saying, me and Lewis had told Jason, don't come to the podcast. Like, we can do this by ourselves. We'll figure something out. But no, I text Jason today. I'm like, hey, what's going to happen? And he's like, I'm going to do the show. I'm going to run it. And I took the biggest sigh. I was a little upset because it's like, why does he always do this? He does the same thing over and over. Whenever something wrong with him, he pushes through the pain. And he's like, oh, I know I'm very stubborn. And it's like infuriating because it's like, Jason, I love you. You're my friend. But we're just like trying to look out for you. And sometimes I feel like you're just going against the grain. Can you please set those bag of chips down for the love of God?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's just like the bag crumbling.
Let me just finish the last bit.
Just scarf it down as quick as possible. You can even have some of my margarita if you want. Oh, guys, I have margarita. It's delicious. Are you done? Are you done? No. We're just not gonna hurt nobody. And we don't have to hear that bag noise again.
I'm sorry, I was hungry.
I understand. It's fine.
I was hangry. But continue to what you were saying. I don't listen. And
you don't listen. You're very hard-headed. The people in your life just care about you. And I understand that it's your life and you can do whatever you want. But if there's like one thing that is, there's obviously a line that you shouldn't cross. Like if you're at work or you're at the podcast, which is also considered work, like in any professional setting, if you can't put in your work, be very attentive, then you could either be injured on the job or you're not going to do the job to its full intent. And when those days when you're feeling bad, it's okay to call in sick. Just stay home and relax.
You know what setting the tone means? No. Okay. So in life, growing up, being a street dude like myself, you were taught to set the tone one time and one time only. And I know this is really just, it's not because women do the same thing. So it can't be like how men are,
Right. But
this is something that women do. This is something that men do.
But you want to know what kind of tone you're setting by being the way that you are right now? You are basically letting other people know that, hey, just because you got in an accident and just because you almost died doesn't mean you should miss work. Go back to work. Swallow your pride as a man. Like, even though that's not what you're saying, and you're saying, oh, I'm just trying to push through and because this and that, whatever. But like your actions, they say something else. Your actions say that even though you could have died or you got into a serious accident and your body's in pain, screw that. I'm going to continue my life like it never happened.
Okay, that's one way of doing it.
You know, and I'm only telling you this because I love you. You know, like you should sometimes, like you should listen to your body or listen to God or the universe, you know, like just listen to your surroundings and not be so hard-headed, which I know it's very hard for you to do in the way that you were raised and the way that you were taught. Like, I get it, but that's just, you know, my opinion. I just wanted to tell you that before I answer the question that you asked me, you know, in regards to, can you ask the question again so the audience, you know, knows? Because I also kind of forgot.
How do you feel regarding men's mental health and how they handle it, and what do you see getting better? Do you see it getting worse? What do you think needs to be brought to the table to break that ice, especially seeing that it's been a year later and you know you've been with your man for a hot minute and he himself goes through his hardship, you yourself go through your hardship,
right?
What do you think that we're still not doing correct from a woman's point of view?
So
to all the shorties out there, what do you think they need to start doing?
Okay. I know that this whole persona or storyline that, you know, men don't cry, men can't cry, they shouldn't cry. You know, they have to be the
Correction.
soap.
We're told not to cry in front of women.
Okay.
But men
But
do
that,
cry.
but still, in general, like, and even around other men, like,
True.
you know, you see a man crying, you're just like, oh, bro, like, what's going on? Honestly, I think this whole, and like, for the longest that I could remember, men don't feel comfortable talking about their emotions or being vulnerable, opening up. You know, I had a guy friend like last year open up to me just about his personal life. Like he was just venting and he straight up looks at me and he's like, you know, I feel comfortable telling you this, but I would never talk about this to like any of like my guy friends or whatever. And I'm like, why? And he said, oh, just because like either they're not going to understand or that's just not, yeah, that's just not how it is. And I'm like, well, you see, that has to change because that's what's wrong. And even you yourself, you're quite literally a walking example of it. You know, sometimes when there is very difficult times happening, your answer is, gotta push through the pain, I'll figure it out. And it's like, no, Jason, if you feel like you want to cry, cry because you'll feel better afterwards.
Save those tears for another day.
You want to know my honest opinion about whenever you tell me the way that I was raised, oh, back in my day. You want to know what I think about that? Fuck that. I don't give a fuck about that. I don't give a fuck about all the strong men saying, oh, nah, you know, back in my day, that's not how it was. Okay, well, in this day, today, we care about men's mental health. We care that if they're having a panic attack or they're experiencing anxiety or depression, or they're just having a bad day and they want to vent, they can totally vent about it. You know, they shouldn't have to be looked down upon or be like looked at any less of a man just because they want to talk about it.
Can I be honest with you about that though? I think what a lot of women fail to understand is we have to get it out the mud. As a man, I don't want to, and I know what you're saying, you're not wrong, but in realistic, you know, real life, I'm not here to burden anybody. My problems are listen,
Jason.
let me finish.
Okay.
My problems are my problems alone, and I feel it would be selfish. I'm not saying I'm correct for this. I'm just expressing how I feel regarding the situation. I feel that it would be wrong for me to drag in somebody into my battles. My battles are meant for me to fight. Now, mind you, I am learning to seek out help and to, you know, reach out to people I need. But at the same time, the worst feeling is when somebody holds that over your head. And I think that's what scares a lot of us men out here is like we want to open up, but the same person opening up to is the same person that could take you out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's a double-edged sword knife because not everybody knows how to handle that. And that's why I say to a lot of shorties, like, you can't handle me. And they think I'm talking on a sexual level. Like, no, far from that. When I say it's very hard for a woman to handle me, is like you gotta be okay with me sometimes leaving the house and going for a drive by myself. You gotta be okay with me sometimes shutting down. I don't lose focus on my responsibilities, but I do shut down because again, the world treats you different versus how it treats me. And the world has sold me its ugliest side. That's why a lot of men are here. Is like, yo, you could be damaged, but you can never allow yourself to be broken. And at this moment, as I'm speaking to you, I'm very damaged. I'm extremely fucking damaged. But at the same time, here you are enjoying your life. I'm not going to fucking inconvenience you. And I know you're not going to take it that way, but that's how I'm perceiving it. You know,
Okay.
when I say I grew up that way, I'm old school, is because as a man, at least in my opinion, I can't speak for everyone else, I have to figure it out. And when I figure it out, then I could come back into play because to me is I don't ever want to be a burden or put myself in a situation to be a burden. And that's another thing that fucks us up mentally. But as fucked up as it is that we're doing it to ourselves, for every guy out there, we have reason. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we don't have reason. You've seen plenty of examples what happens when men open up. It's like fucking open season on us. And it's like, damn, I let my guard down for 1 second and the world comes at me full blunt force. It's like, why even bother? Why even allow those people to even understand when they have their mind made up? And because I know they have their mind made up, there's really not much you could say to a cat of my caliber or a man of my status is going through what the fuck I'm going through. And I don't hold that against you. I think men who hold that against women, that's where you become narcissistic. That's when you become misogynistic. Doesn't mean she's not going to explain, but that's a fucking what you call a privilege.
Right.
And I say it 1,000 times, it's not a right for everybody to know you or what you're going on with you. It's a privilege. People have to earn that. And even as they earn that, you still always got to keep fucking 10 toes down because the same person, Nipsey Hussle said it best, a woman could love you today and say, I don't want to be with you tomorrow. But $100 is still going to be worth $100 whether it was yesterday or today. And I think that's the mentality I have adopted because of all the shit I've gone through.
Right.
And if I may speak on, my brother right now, he's going through it, you know what I'm saying, with his situation happening in life. And it's some scary shit because it's like, again, we have two modes, civilized and uncivilized. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to, me being civilized is me being submissive to the thought of not handling things I want to. And I know I'm not the only man going through this. You know what I'm saying? You guys, unfortunately, I feel like you're never really graspably going to understand because women in general have a full support system. You know what I'm saying? Where a woman could be doing some fucked up shit and say some reckless shit, but there'll be someone to support her. We have to walk, and I hate the phrase because I refuse to do it, but walk on eggshells in order to get things done. You know what I'm saying? Why is that? Because it's emotionally involved. So what I would say to you on what you're saying, you're correct. You're honestly correct about opening up and basically allowing people in to help you. But the same ones helping you could be the ones that do the most damage to you because you trust them. You know what I'm saying? No man wants to do that. No man wants to basically have his pain used against them. And we've seen so many examples of that. So you could say that we've been traumatized by it. You could say we've been programmed by it. But one thing for sure, two things for certain, shit went down to make the man he is now. At one point, even women, we all started innocent. But for the most part, most women end up being able to keep their innocent because they have a support system. Us men, we don't. We don't have a support system. Number one, we don't have unity like we're supposed to. And it's now basically going from, oh yeah, having the brothers back to survival of the fittest. You get it, dog. Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Okay, so I'm going to stop you right there because, men with that mentality, that's what's the problem. And you also need to realize that you, in fact, do have a support system. You have me and you have Lewis. Mm-hmm. And I want you to get out of that crap mentality that you have right now because we have your back and we have been there for you since probably as long as I've known you, that we've gotten closer this year that we did the podcast.
Okay.
I never would have imagined that we would have gotten close.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first met you, you were so intimidating. I was like, oh my God, like we probably have nothing in common. And even though we have more things not in common than we do in common.
But we do have similarities.
But we do have similarities. And because of our differences, that's how well we clash together, that we go together. Not just as co-hosts, but as friends.
Yeah.
Because it's more of like a brother sister, you know, I understand your viewpoints, but also understand mine, because the world isn't so shitty. There are, you know, good moments in life, innocent moments in life that you have to cherish, so you have to hold on to, because if not.
But you see, that's where I double back, because again, the world's treated you different.
Right.
Where you're able to keep that innocent.
I
don't have that luxury.
I have never surrounded myself with people who say, oh, don't hate the player, hate the game. My parents have always taught me, my dad has taught me since I think I was 12 when he told me this. He said, you can't trust anyone in this world. And he would subliminally tell me stories or messages or just little lectures about how, you know, you have to be careful in this world because the only person that you can trust is yourself. People will backstab you. And then I have my mom telling me, oh, like, don't listen to him. You know, he's a little cray.
But you see the difference,
trust people. And I've had 2 points of views, and I'm very lucky to have 2 different points of views telling me their experiences, you know, from
being
each
able
side.
To compare and contrast,
being able to compare and contrast and take those experiences and take it with me through life and experience my own. And now I'm here sitting across from you, and I hope you can listen to me and understand that you do have a support system. And even though you say we as men, because you know it is men's awareness and this happens to a lot of men, but I want you to single yourself out for a moment and know that you are not these other men. You, in fact, do have a support system, and you don't have to have that mentality any longer of, oh, you know, I have to be a little hard-headed and I have to be brave and put on a brave face and, you know, just push through. And push through. Because you don't, if you feel like you don't want to push through, if you feel you can be like, you know what, Nate, you know what, Lewis, I'm gonna stay in tonight, you know, or I'm gonna go home after the podcast or after the meeting, and you know what, I'm just gonna lay down. And then if you want to cry it out a little bit, listen to some sad music, go ahead. You have every right to. You really be in tune with yourself, because who you were in the past is not you anymore. And you're leaving that person behind. You are a new person today, moving forward.
But
trying to better yourself.
If I could give you like a proper analogy of how it is for a lot of us, you have health insurance?
Yeah, you just got it, yes.
Okay. How many times have you seen a person say, yo, I'm fucked up? And they'll be like, yeah, I got insurance, but I don't want to go through the insurance because either it's going to be too expensive, it's going to be an inconvenience. But that same mentality is the same mentality we have when it comes to reaching out. Right. Again, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying that it's 100% acceptable, but you have to acknowledge that there's reasoning to it.
I know.
You get what I'm saying? Right. And if I may share the story with my boy right now, this is a dude who's honestly a humble person. And what happened to him, he was betrayed by those, you know, that he kept dear. And the fucked up part is, and I'll tell you guys out there, betrayal only comes from people that you know. Betrayal can't come from a stranger. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And just like you go through life, you're programmed to receive information a certain way. You're programmed to act out on a certain manner, because one thing for sure, 2 things for certain, niggas have been through some shit, whether it's male or female. But in my case, or in my boy's case, it's like, yo, all we can do is pick up sticks and keep going. And the reason why we have that mentality is not that we don't trust you. Life does not give us that possibility, because if I stop, it doesn't only affect me. It's like a fucking freight train moving with heavy cargo. You just can't stop that shit. You got to fucking either find a different route or punch through that shit. Because if we were to calm down and do as you say, we fuck everything up in the process. Again,
I just mean like in a moment. I don't mean, you know, it's like this is going to be your mood from now on. I just mean like when you go home and you shower, cry it out in the shower. That's probably like the best place you can just let it out. And then once you finish your shower, you know, just take a moment, adjust yourself and get back to what you were doing. But like dedicate hours in the day to truly just feel your feelings. Because
How?
okay.
No, seriously, how? Like when you say that,
Right.
acknowledge your feelings and do that. How am I supposed to do that when you have the weight of the world on your shoulders? How am I supposed to take time out where this is checkers, not chess here we're talking about, right? For every decision, you're losing something. For every decision, you have to understand you are sacrificing something.
Uh-huh.
And because of that, at what point is that going to be acceptable? I could jeopardize myself more by stalling than moving forward, because we know what would happen if I fall back. But if I move forward, that opens up possibility to greater things. And I'm not trying to, pull tooth and nail on this.
Uh-huh.
It's just when it comes to men's mental health and awareness, we're really out here by ourselves. There's plenty of times where I know I'm not the only dude who's been in a room full of friends and still felt alone. I'm not the only dude who's been out here wondering why it seems like every time I try to go ahead, something fucks me up. That's that silent battle between me and God. You get what I'm saying? And I think it's toxic to a certain degree, but it's also development of our charactership, our characters, right? It molds us into the person we are. It's not always the best thing, but if you're smart enough to navigate, you could use it to your advantage. It's considered taboo, especially to women, because you guys don't have the same repercussions as us. Again, the world treats us different versus how it treats you. And that significant difference of how that is the number one reason why we are the way we are. Because it's not an equal playing field. It's not. It's biased as fuck. Whether it's based on your income, your religion, your skin color, we have to adapt to our situations and keep moving. I agree with you 100% about opening up and being able to talk to people. But can you guarantee that's not going to be used against me? Can you guarantee that people are going to be sincere? Because another thing us as men understand is we understand how dirty this fucking world can be. You guys, unfortunately, not all, but the majority of y'all don't see that. Y'all don't understand that.
Answer me this, or not necessarily answer me, but just truly think about it. If you're going through something and in your head, you list all of your close friends or all of the close people in your life, your loved ones, and you kind of want to vent about something. And you're looking through that list through your head. Okay, I kind of want to vent about it. And you know what? Maybe like through dinner or drinks, who can I take who probably won't stab me in the back? And if you can't think of a solid answer, then there are a serious problem of the people that you keep in your life. Or maybe, or
not
maybe
necessarily.
Or just no, yes. And this is something that you have to really, truly accept it, because I know what it feels like to keep people in my life that are my friends that aren't really that good for me. Like I know how it feels like. I want to keep, we're social human beings. We want to feel close and make connections. And sometimes it's pretty hard to find connections with certain people. So we settle for what we think is the best thing at the moment. And sometimes that's not always the best thing for you. If you really feel like you can't open up to all the people in your life, then that's okay. You don't have to.
That we can't.
But what I mean by feel your feelings is, and this depends on anyone. This is your preference. Several ways to go and feel your feelings is, I think the most common and basic one you could probably do is the shower. Everyone showers. So when you get in that shower, finish up your routine and just take like 5 minutes. If you feel truly overwhelmed that you might cry, then just do it. Just do it. And if anybody asks, oh man, I got soap in my eye, how annoying. And if you're gonna make it real, like super loud in the shower, just do it. Because I know I've done it times where I'm feeling so overwhelmed, like I feel like the world is on my shoulders. You're a teenager and your world is literally this big compared to others that are this big. And sometimes you just want to cry out in the shower.
Yeah, there's a song called "The Defiance." I want to go outside and cry in the rain because I don't want to see you see me crying. Right?
And you know what? And that's okay if you don't want to see people cry, or journaling. You
No,
know,
I agree with you on solutions to actually use as a foundation to escape the pain that you're going through.
but it does,
But
and this is just to, I'm talking about feeling your feelings.
yeah,
You know, you can go about your day, have
Mhm.
the whole world on your shoulders, and you know what? Take 30 minutes. You know what? I'm taking 30 minutes because I'm gonna go in the shower or go in the bathroom, have my poop time,
Mhm.
and just let it. If once you've once you have mastered actually feeling your emotions or crying it out or truly just feeling that heartache, that those
Mhm.
butterflies in your stomach, just that not, that's how it's working.
But you want to know the truth?
And then once you finish, get out the bathroom and go about your day.
That sounds good and all, but it's not going to change my reality.
It's not supposed to change, and it's
But
not
what
supposed
I'm
to fix
saying,
it right away.
no,
It's
I get
supposed
what you're
to
saying. It's supposed to enlighten you. I get that,
just a little bit.
just a little bit. But at that same time, the time that I could use to do that, I could use to make myself a better person.
Oh my
I know,
God,
listen. I know
Jason.
you may not agree with it. This is me talking raw right now.
Right.
I rather use that time to make something sustainable, to
Okay.
make something stronger for me and the ones I care about. And I think that gets bypassed. I'm not agreeing with men not opening up. I agree with you opening up, but it doesn't change my reality. Because at the same time, yeah, it may make me feel better and give me a better option to like process things and go through it. But at the same time, because I know how the world is from a male's perspective, I know it's not going to help to the degree it would help you as a woman. There's significant difference. I'm not trying to make this a sexist topic, but that's what's evident.
Okay.
The
Okay.
shit we hold in, the shit how we move, the shit that, let me tell you, what that dude said to Mike Tyson that was so deep. No one will understand the violence it took for you to be this gentle. And I think people ignore that, especially when it comes to men. Because again, you even said to yourself, dealing with certain people, especially opposite sex, shit goes down a certain alley and you will do things that I would never do. And I can only absorb that and I have to eat that and I have to find a way to get past that. And sometimes the only way to do that, as mad as I hate to admit it, is to shut down, focus up, focus on the finish line. When I get to that, when I get to that finish line, then I can recount and acknowledge, but I have too much riding on this. It's not just about self. You get what I'm saying? I am a leader. I have family I represent for. I have responsibilities. Just like y'all were mad when I got in an accident. How can you go to work? Because I had to set the tone. I had to set the tone.
Yeah. That it's okay to almost die and go to work. Oh, I promote capitalism. I have to go to work. I have the big money. People have to get, take my time.
It's not about
because that's one point of view, Jason. What I'm trying to tell you is that not just men, but human beings in general, when you are feeling overwhelmed or have this stacked emotions, just one problem after the other, it's like constantly coming at you. Life is giving you punches and not giving you a break, and you're just taking it in. You gotta
roll with the punches.
And you're like, I gotta roll with it. No, you want to know what happens to a person? I think you may have gotten used to it and you know how to like maneuver it, but I'm talking about some of the people who don't know how to maneuver it. They get all of those punches. What happens to a person when they are experiencing a massive amount of emotion, anxiety, and all of this negative energy, and they don't let it out correctly, or they don't cope with it correctly?
You either fight, flight, or get involved.
Shit, depending on the person, shit's gonna hit the fan. It's gonna, and literally depending on the person, they might lash out in an angrily way. They might break down and cry, have a mental breakdown,
and that could be used against them.
Whatever the case may be, which is why I'm saying it's so important for you to take time out of your day alone. Maybe if you don't trust anyone, that's cool. Like, the shower time, like nobody's going to suspect a thing. Just let yourself feel those feelings and have a talk with yourself saying, I'm a person and I'm feeling overwhelmed right now, and fuck everyone else who is bringing me all of this baggage that I have to deal with. Fuck this, and then once you get out of the shower, you're like, okay, time to pick up this baggage, and you do it. Cause like, you're like, you know what? I've had that pep talk with myself and I feel better. that is great, because you know what kind of tone you're setting right now, basically saying, I after I got the accident, I have to set the tone. That, like, that's giving the wrong example. I don't like the example that you're giving, that it's okay to just push down your feelings and fight through it.
I didn't say it was okay.
But this is like what I'm looking at from another point of view as like a man. You're strong, Jason, not just physically, but mentally. I know the shit that you have told me of everything that you went through in your life. You know, it's like, wow, I'm proud that you are not like, that you didn't turn out a different way.
Yeah.
You know, that you are the man that you are. That despite all of the obstacles that you went through and despite all of your differences, you are still moving forward. And if that's worked for you, then I'm glad that it's worked for you. But I just want to let you know that you have to be careful with what you say or how you set the tone for other people, because everyone is different and not everyone could probably move forward the way that you do. Because when a person takes in so many punches from the world, we don't know how they're going to act. If they're going to have a mental breakdown, go to a hospital because they've probably been Baker-act, or have anger issues and go to jail because they fucking lash out on someone, or anything in between. Like, you really never know. And you know, I just hope that if there's ever a day where you're feeling like you're mad, you know, go to one of those like smashing plate places where you pay to go into a room,
or you go to the gym,
or you go to the gym, or if you feel like you have to cry, just take a long shower and cry. I just hope that if you feel that way, that you express it. I just hope that you never have to think that you can't be that way. You know what I mean?
I think I speak for a lot of men, is we acknowledge that, but also what keeps us that we don't want to be an inconvenience to anyone. I'm not saying that we are, but from what we have visually seen and experienced for a lot of us guys out here,
right,
that is the number one thing. We do not want to inconvenience anybody with our struggle and our problems, because we understand it's not fair. And also, I have to be real. Yeah, is it a trauma response? Yeah. We look, at least for me, I look at it as, yeah, I could always be there for you. That makes me feel good. But also, my problems are my problems. It's been indoctrinated for us. Be a man, figure it out. And those tools, believe it or not, whether people want to, don't want to, or do want to acknowledge it, being that way has allowed me to get to this point and absorb the wisdom that I have received because I took that route. Because at the same time, you're saying all this, it sounds good. You're innocent, you're a calm person. Not everyone's like that. And
Jason,
because, wait, let me finish. Because not everyone's like that, it's kind of crazy to expect that from somebody who's been through that type of situation where they unfortunately had to learn the hard way of why you don't open up, why you don't basically reach out for help. Because in my case, when I did do it, it was used against me. So you know what? I'm better off dealing with this on my own than put myself in a situation that nearly took me out. And I think that's what people need to understand about us men. We do not want to put ourselves in the position of being vulnerable and put ourselves on display that essentially could take us out. As strong as we are, we're still very fragile. You get what I'm saying? Because we have so much weight on us. And if we were to open to the wrong person and they use that against us, it would be more damaging than the situation that we're in. Do you get what I'm saying? Because the trust, again, betrayal comes from what? People that you are close to, never a stranger. And we see it all the time. And we know it's a problem because, again, I'm not the only man who feels that way. So that tells you there is a critical issue going on. How do we fix it? And I think it's respecting our nature and working with us. Because even as you said before, you're talking about, oh, yeah, you could use this as an outlet to open up and to express yourself. You have the luxury to do that as a woman. We don't.
You don't have the luxury to just take a shower and just shed a few tears?
No.
Because that's literally what I said. And I said, you know.
You also said opening up to people. You
Okay.
also said about basically being open and
If you
acknowledging
can.
if you can.
Right.
But what I'm saying is the reason why we don't do that is because of the hardship that follows with it. Like you may not agree with it, but
No,
it is
I agree.
evident. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying the way that I move is perfect, but it has you have your rhyming, you have your reason.
Right.
So even then, when I say set the tone, yeah, I have to set the tone because I understand, and I may not agree with this. I'm just a number at work. You get what I'm saying? I can be replaced at any moment. I'm not going to give them that opportunity. You get what I'm saying? That's what we say as men. We're in constant battle mode because that's the reality. For when we fall back and we don't keep moving, shit gets fucked up because there's already forces out there trying to take us out. Forces out there that are trying to bring us down. Sometimes it's your partner. Sometimes it's your family. Sometimes it's your job. So to me, I find it important to send the tone like, yeah, I can get fucked up, but I'll pick up sticks right behind it. I'll pick up sticks and I'll do what I got to do despite me being in pain, despite me almost losing my life, despite me going through this hardship, because I'm not going to let it define me. I'm going to stay positive and always shoot for the success. That's all I'm fucking focused on.
Okay, I want to say two things. The first thing is, I know that you're just a number at work and that you're not going to give them the opportunity to like replace you, but taking just men out of this and just putting people into, this working economy, you get into a car accident, I'm not going to die for this company. I literally don't have a car. It's okay to take the day off. If you want to go back to work the next day, okay. You're just a little bruised up, but you're fine. Mm-hmm. Okay, sounds good. But, for that specific day that you got into the accident, it would be completely okay if you missed the day. Now, going on to the second thing that I wanted to add, I do understand what you're going through. I have had my fair share of trusting the wrong people and then getting betrayed. I had this so-called friends, this girlfriend, and she was a very certain type of way in her personality. And I shared some personal things about my family to her, and fast forward, God knows how many months, she, at the time, she didn't really get a good control of her emotions. She was kind of sporadic, and she kind of used all of that shit against me. Like when shit hit the fan and she's upset with me, she was quick to use that shit against me. And I'm like, that really showed her true colors. And that showed me that I can't trust her anymore with my secrets. So she is a friend, we have the same friend group, but I'm no longer trusting her. And going through life with that, okay, now I have to be careful who I tell people about my personal shit, because, look what just happened with this girl. And let's take my boyfriend, for example. I can tell him anything, and I know that he's not going to betray me because we have set that foundation, and enough time has passed where I can trust him, and I know a lot of people don't have that person in their life, and it is unfortunate, and I understand what you're going through. I mean, not to a full extent. Everyone has kind of experienced betrayal in one shape or form. And I do agree with not everyone has the luxury of just, either telling their friends or the loved ones or even seeing a therapist. I understand that that's not an option for everyone. I just hope that you guys find a healthy outlet, because as I agree with you, the world can be shitty, but there are a lot of beautiful moments that you should hold on to. You shouldn't just drown yourself in a deep pit of darkness just because that's all you see. Where there's darkness, there's light. One can't sniff out the other. There has to be a balance in this world. So even though you feel like you're at rock bottom, there is literally nowhere to go but up. That's it. You're the worst you possibly felt. That's probably the worst that you could feel. If you've experienced it in your lifetime, if you're truly at rock bottom, what's more down than down? You know what I mean? At least that's the way that I see it. And you really have to enjoy the little things in life, because we're all going to die at some point. And I'm not going to let, life kind of just like if I'm gonna die and they say that life flashes before your eyes before you pass away, I don't want all of those moments to be so
Let me answer this.
Dark.
Who are you responsible for?
I mean,
yourself.
Pretty much. I don't really have I didn't birth a family, so my answer is pretty much myself.
The reason why I asked you that, for a lot of us guys out here, we're not only responsible for ourselves. We're not. No matter how people want to place it, we're not responsible for ourselves. Every decision I make as a man is going to affect those I love. And that's another reason why I got to pick up sticks and keep moving. Because it's not just about me. And that's why I say it's a luxury to be a woman versus being a man, because again, you have the support system. But because I know I'm not only representing myself, trust me, if I was only representing myself, yeah, I would be a completely different fucking person. But setting the tone is, yo, I'm here. It's like, imagine war, right?
I feel like that's called being a good person.
It is, you could call it that, but imagine being in war, right? You think niggas really want to go to another country and fight? No. But it's part of your duties. Why is it part of your duties? For most people, they're doing it because they're doing it to protect their family. And that's another thing that I feel like society forgets. A lot of the trauma that we absorb as men, a lot of the hardship we go through as men, we take it, we digest it, we swallow it, and we keep moving forward, because guess what? It's not just about us. I have to be strong, not only for myself, but for those I love. And as good as it sounds to be able to be open and whatnot, if I don't keep it together, the domino effect happens. The domino effect is me constantly having to overlook and worry about it fucking up the people that I care about. And it's a double sword knife, because if I don't take care of myself, it's going to stress them out too, because then I'll be bringing myself to an early grave.
Exactly.
But
so if it's working for you for now, then I'm glad.
That's why I say it has to have balance. Because like a lot of my brothers out here, man, the shit they're dealing with, it's not only lonely, but it's suicide. It is honestly suicidal to be a man nowadays, because we understand how lonely it is. That's why we're so bent on bringing up our value and building our self-worth. You guys can never understand that. I'm sorry, you can't. And not all, but it's kind of funny. Like, the only people I feel like that could relate to that as women are those who have multiple kids and they're by themselves working multiple jobs, because it's the same thing. Here you got is a shorty working multiple jobs, 3, barely has time to sleep. She is burning herself out. She is killing herself in the process, right? We know this. But why? Because she's not only representing herself, she has a family to look out for. Right. She has responsibility to make sure her kids are good. It's the same thing for us as men, but 24/7 to a higher degree.
I understand. That analogy, I like that you use that analogy, because I read a lot of Reddit stories, and a lot of them have to do with like either single moms or just moms who feel like they're doing a lot of the workload. And more often than not in those stories, these moms, they love taking care of their children. Yeah, it can get very overwhelming, like you exactly just said in your example. And the only thing that they want is
peace.
30 minutes in the shower by themselves without being interrupted by their children. That's it, out of the day. And I'm reading it and I'm like, I can kind of imagine that, like, the entire day you're like on productive mode. You're like, have very high, fast pace. You're like, okay, I have to do this, I have to do that. And you're like, okay, wow, I have 30 minutes to myself before I have to do the next thing very fast. I can take a deep breath. And you know what? And I've read a lot of stories that kind of say the same thing. And I'm like, okay, because it's so right little, there, but you see goes a long way, which is what I want for you.
No,
at the end of the day.
Thank you. But you see how you can relate when I use the woman as an example?
Well, yeah, because I'm not a man. I don't know, like.
Thank you.
I'm
not trying to catch you, but that's the point. You can relate to it from a woman's point of view, right? Because you see yourself in that situation. And I think that what makes it so hard for us men, that women, and I'm not putting the blame on women, because you're not able to put yourselves in our shoes, when you start giving us outlets of how to do things, if you knew how it truly was,
it doesn't work.
It doesn't work, and you would know that.
So then what do you think would work?
Honestly,
like truly keep an open
truly
mind.
Works for men getting better mentally is honestly trust in each other.
Okay.
Build the same support system that women have for each other. Because we're here in real life, a woman could be moving backwards and saying all types of stupid shit, and you'll find the shorties will still be supporting her. You know what I'm saying? But as men, we don't have that. We have ridicule. We got always somebody to say, yo, you got to be doing this. You got to move like that. You got to move like a real man. I think where shit would get better is if we had the same community support that women have. If we had that, trust me, things would be very fucking different. But the truth is, whether you want to believe it or not, especially like with these red pill guys and shit, talking, oh, we got to have it's bullshit because they don't. Men are competitive to each other. And the worst part is we're competitive to each other based on success. Women are competitive against each other based on looks. And because you guys are competitive based on looks, y'all will go on to the knife, cut yourselves up, blah, blah, blah. Trust me, we can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Because if it was that easy, trust me, shit would be fucking different. We truly have to get it out the mud. And the journey is hard enough as it is, but being in that journey and the hardship is what makes us better. It's just, unfortunately, we don't have the support group that you guys have. And I think if we were able to build that support system that women have when it comes to having each other's back, things would be different from us. But society tells us you don't need to, you need to figure it out on your own. See, that's what society has shown us and told us. And the truth is, we already know it takes a village to raise a child, right? It takes a group of men to uplift each other, just like it takes a group of women to hold each other down. And the truth is, women have that, but us men don't. Because when it's brought to our attention, it's fake. That's why I always talk about betrayal. It's not sincere. And I think that's what fucks us up, because I feel if men weren't on some fuck shit and on some like, yo, I'm just trying to get some cooch, but if they really looked out for each other, like on some brotherhood shit, life would be different for us. It would be easier to navigate. That's my take on it. What are your final thoughts?
I appreciate you giving me your point of view. I do agree. Like, I don't know from Amanda's point of view the struggles, I really do hope that moving forward, that one day men could uplift each other and build support and community.
Because if I gotta be honest, it's not just women, it's the system itself.
Right.
The system itself. Think about it.
Yeah.
In the court system, we get fucked up. Suicide, we're leading that one. Incarceration, we're leading that one. Women outnumber us 5-1. 5-1. You would think we have a support system, but we don't. We don't. You got bitch ass niggas, you got real solid and thorough dudes, and it's almost like oil and vinegar. They don't mix. And because they don't mix, it's like, damn, bro, it kind of sucks, because you could meet a rich ass girl and you would basically be able to adapt to that. You know what I'm saying? You'll still be able to. I meet a rich ass dude, I'm looking at him sideways, because it's like, nigga, you ain't gone through no shit. You get what I'm saying? And that's unfortunately how I've been programmed. Because if you ever notice, like dealing with both sexes, right? You ever seen those people who make it like a challenging type situation, like a competition, who struggled more or who's been through more shit? Mm-hmm. Men are naturally like that. Right. And it's really unfortunate. And I think that's what fucks a lot of shit up. Perfect prime example, Andrew Tate, right? Here's a motherfucker like, oh, you got to go to the gym. You got to do that. I care for men, da-da-da. But how do you care for men when you made your entire empire using them? You get what I'm saying? Sabotaging them, manipulating them. There is no unity in men. As much as they want to act like there is, women have far more unity than us men do. So if you wanted to fix the problem on mental health, in my opinion, we have to get together and we got to not only hold each other accountable, but we really got to go back to building a brotherhood that is sincere without vindictive moves and cruel intentions behind it. Not to say women don't have that, but it's more prevalent on men. It's more evident on the men's side. And that's another thing that fucks us up, because sometimes, like I said, we could be in a room full of people and still feel alone. You know what I'm saying? I'm not proud of that, but that's how we absorb it. You know what I'm saying? I give a shout out to all the brothers out there that reach out to me and let me know if something's going on, because that takes so much out of us. And it's not, we care about how we're going to look. It comes into, I don't want to inconvenience the people I love. Right. So I'd rather suffer in silence than ever put somebody I care about in an unfavorable position or a fucked up mindset dealing with my bullshit. I'm not willing to do that. And that's another problem. That's my final thoughts on it.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Again, shout out to men's mental health. You know, if you guys out there struggling, reach out to me, man. I can't fix your problems, not all of them, but I can promise I'll listen to you. Yeah. Jason, and I'll hear you out. If you wanna, and I'll try to find a solution.
If you want to build community, definitely starts with Jason.
You know, I firmly believe we're all we got. Yeah. And I mean that as a whole. So on our next topic, you have a story for us, right?
I do. All right, okay. I'm just going to go right into it, and then you guys let me know what you think. So the title says, I feel my husband was sexually abused, but he says he hasn't. Okay. This is a 37 female telling the story, and her husband is a 38 male.
Okay.
I'm not sure if this is a good sub for this question. If not, I apologize. Trigger warning for potential SA, sexual assaults. Hi, I, 37, female, am happily married to my husband, K, that's his name, 38 male, and I'm seeking advice because I'm confused and concerned. For context, we're both very happy. We love each other and we love our son. We both lost our fathers when we were young, and that was one of the things we formed an emotional bond on. I also lost my mom to COVID. I've met his mom, and she's always been good to me and like my mom. I admire her for raising a kid alone. What's bothering me so much then? Well, R and I had a baby, a boy, and he just turned 6. And we both love being parents. My mother-in-law has been great help through my pregnancy and after. And if I ever had questions or needed help, I have been able to call her. She's also passed on advice and tips that she was given by her mother and mother-in-law and so on. One of those, for instance, was giving light massages to the baby. It helped. It helped stimulate their muscles and promoted growth. I don't know how true it was, but my son used to love those massages and I liked giving him one. Well, she is visiting us right now, and it's been a joy seeing my son playing with his grandma. Yesterday, she shared another piece of advice with me. She said it's important that while giving my son his bath, I should try to pull his foreskin back lightly. She said I should use a couple of drops of oil to help it move back and forth, and that it will help him grow by helping his foreskin separate. Okay. She said I should do it once every day until it does. My brain blanked out, and I immediately asked her what she was talking about. She started explaining that her mother-in-law had told her about it, and just like that, she was telling me now. I caught half of it, and I think because of my mind was racing, I just walked out of the room. Later, Kay walks into the room and tries to talk to me. I ask him if he knows what his mom just told me, and he says yes. He said that he understands I'm upset, and it's fine if I don't want to talk. I asked him if it's really true that his mom did it to him, and he told me she did, confirming everything she said. I'm confused here. I feel like my husband was abused, but he says he wasn't, and I'm misinterpreting it. I haven't noticed any emotional or sexual trauma from him over all these years, and I'm questioning myself. He clearly believes it wasn't wrong, and even if he says I don't have to feel like even if he says I don't have to, I feel like both he and mother-in-law think I should, since it will help our son. Edit. I want to add details of my conversation with him because I feel like that what he told me is important in understanding my feelings here. I asked my husband when it stopped for him, and he said he didn't remember exactly, but maybe around 14. I asked him if he was ever aroused.
14 years old?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
I asked him if he was ever aroused, And he tried to play it off as a stupid question. When I pushed, he said, obviously, he had started to get aroused towards the later years. I asked him what he meant, and he hesitated but said that it felt good when he got those massages. And yes, he had started getting erections for a while. I asked him why they didn't stop, and he said his foreskin was still attached to his head, so his mother felt it best to keep doing it, even if he would have an erection. I asked him how long his mother would massage him for, and he said he didn't know the answer to that. I asked him how she did it, and he told me she would pour a few drops of oil in her palm and lightly pull on his foreskin as she moved her hand on his penis. I can keep going. Did he ever have any accidents when she did this? He said yes. His only excuse was even if it felt good for him, doesn't mean that his mom was abusing him. She was doing it for his health.
Okay. I just want to add something to that. This is a delicate conversation because obviously this also has a lot to do with culture.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys, not to go on sidetrack, but it has correlations to this where those newborns caught herpes because in the Jewish community, you know, they do the foreskin surgery.
Right, yeah,
and
yeah.
it's natural for the priest after to do it to suck on the penis of the child. And within that, there are newborns who have contracted HIV herpes as a result
Because of that.
of the the priest circumcising and then sucking on it to control the bleeding. Now, mind you, to us who's westernized, we look at that as pedophilia. You're literally not only cutting this man outside of not in a hospital, but in a church or whatever setting they are, but you're also putting your mouth on a newborn's penis, sucking on it to stop the bleeding. And as a result, some children have caught herpes. And now the reason why I bring that up is because that's culture. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing with this individual that his mom's been doing it since he was 14. He's literally admitted to ejaculating during the process. To us, this would be considered rape. I just want to keep in mind as we talk about it, especially for you guys hearing this is part of their culture. And just because of this part of their culture doesn't make it right, but this is what is normal to them is fucking bizarre to us and damn near rape to us. So just wanted to point that out. What are your thoughts about that?
Oh,
because this is going to get
weird.
Interesting.
That is weird. I have a few questions. Like my first question is, please enlighten me on the male anatomy. So, just please confirm that is it true that a boy's penis over the years, especially when you go through puberty, if they're not circumcised, like they have to
because if you don't pull, so you got something called dick cheese.
Okay.
And what dick cheese is, it's pretty much the oil buildup underneath the skin. And if you don't take care of that, you're more likely to get infections and whatnot. So that's another reason why they were making circumcision like very popular throughout, the decades, where it's like it's normal to get circumcised because of risk of infection. And some people are against it. You know what I'm saying? Me, myself, I'm circumcised and I'm thankful for it, but imagine if you don't take care of yourself, you're not a person who's hygienically clean, you're going to get what they call that dick cheese and that crust. And that's going to lead to severe irritation and infection. Also, it's been proven that if a man is uncircumcised, he's more likely to give his partner cervix cancer in a study. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So in your opinion, you have a baby boy, but you're not a part of that culture of the story we just read.
But my wife is?
No. Like you both aren't. Like how does one like educate their child, their boy, as they're growing up, the proper like cleaning?
Well, it's like the same way when I had to teach my nephews how to use the bathroom.
Okay.
It was very awkward because obviously I had to show him. And you have to understand, kids are innocent.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Kids are innocent, but they do get to a certain age where they become more aware. Now, in this case, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't agree with what his mother did. and what he partook because it's an invasion of privacy. We get to an age, especially at 14, we're sexually aware.
Right.
And if you're ejaculating into your mom's hands while she's doing this process, at that point, in my opinion, no disrespect to the culture, I have a problem with that because he's old enough to do it himself. That's one.
Right.
Two, to be doing it to that age is ridiculous because you're getting aroused, dog. Like you're getting aroused to your mother's touch. You're ejaculating to your mother's touch. That to
so
me is forbidden. That
Oh my God.
I'm not. And here's the thing. She's an adult. I can't get mad at him at 14 either because he's still a child. But for her, his mom to do that and then carry it on to their child, number one, that's overstepping your boundaries. I don't give a fuck about the culture at that point because that is my child. You get what I'm saying? So you're not about to sexually violate my child. Mm-hmm. And knowing what you did with your son is sickening because it's like, at what point? I'm looking at the mother crazy. You know what I'm saying? And when you think about it, she's done it so much that her son thinks that is normal behavior.
Yeah.
But again, it's hard to say that it's not because that's their culture.
Okay, so do you agree or think it's weird? What about when he was an infant? You know, like
as an infant, I give it a pass simply because they're not able to do it themselves.
Right.
I think you should get to a point where you teach them. Now, mind you, it's like that should be taught around the same time you're potty training your child.
Okay.
Why? Because they're aware that, hey, I got to take a shit. I got to learn to wipe myself. If you got to learn to wipe yourself, you got to learn to clean yourself.
Right. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So in the beginning, I could give it a pass because evidently if no one does it, he's prone to get an infection. He's prone to have problems.
Even as an infant.
Because it's oil. Your skin is oily. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Think about it when you go to the gym. You sweat down there. I sweat down there. Kids is running around all the time. So somebody has to clean it. But it should be a mission to teach them to do it themselves. That's like a grown-ass man. Imagine being 14 years old asking your mom, Ma, I finished taking a shit. Can you come wipe me? You're going to be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're 14 years old. Do it your damn self. You know what I'm saying? Now, is it safe to call it rape by our mentality because we're from the Western civilization? We didn't grow up in that culture? Yes. Mm-hmm. Just based off the age and the fact that this boy was ejaculating into his mom's hand during the process. That, I don't care what anybody says, is not normal or condone behavior by any such. That's a violation. That's a straight up violation because it's an arousal. You're not supposed to share arousals with your mother. Mm-hmm. You're not. I'm strong against that. I think honestly, should she be criminally charged? Not for what she's doing to the baby, but what she did with her son. Yes.
Right.
Because that's like OD. You could be understanding all you want to, but at 14, the man knows how to wipe his own ass. He knows how to clean his own penis. It seems like it's more of a trauma bond where I look at it as a trauma bond because maybe she kept doing it because she was scared to lose her son. And that's how she felt close to him. And ideally, a woman, as especially a mother, wants to make their son feel good. She might be thinking it's cute. But to us, because we didn't grow up in that culture, that is severely wrong. Just like the whole sucking on the penis of infants and giving, that to me is wrong. You get what I'm saying?
What do you think on some parents circumcise their children, some don't, do you feel like it's more hygienic? Like what are the pros and cons to circumcising a boy?
Circumcising a boy, the benefits of it is lack of infection.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You're more likely to be okay than catch an infection. It's easier not having to sleep. This is my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Because I have homeboys who are not, circumcised and, we share our experiences and whatnot. And honestly, I heard some gross shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's not to throw them under the bus, but just like how you got to check your pH balance, you get what I'm saying? Well, a man who's uncircumcised has to check his shaft. Because if he's not disciplined and he's not doing what he's doing and he lays with you, he's gonna give you an infection. Imagine, you see how oil builds up on your face? Imagine down there is times 10 because there ain't no vents there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's gonna get bad. I think, in my opinion, bro, she's out of pocket, and I think she should be charged straight up, because doing that at 14 to him, you literally groomed him. So that's why he doesn't see it's a problem, because I can't say it's a problem because of culture. No, it's not a problem to him because you groomed him thinking that this was okay. Because I guarantee you ask people out this culture, because I know people in the Jewish community, they were taught that shit as a child. It's almost like breastfeeding. You know what I'm saying? Is it okay to breastfeed a fucking 10-year-old? No, you're fucking them up mentally. Mm-hmm. That's not acceptable. And in most cases, when you see that, who's the one who's in the fucking nut house? The mother. Oh, I just love when he latches on because I feel connected to him. So you're fucking up his mentality and his growth because of your selfishness. Because that's really what it comes down to. It's selfish. If it's not, criminally intended.
I was gonna ask something.
That shit's gross.
It is. Sorry, I have to take a minute because that story was crazy. Damn, I was gonna ask you something.
But what are your thoughts on it?
Oh my god,
hopefully you come back to it. What are your thoughts on it?
Oh man, that's just so weird. Honestly, she groomed him. I agree 100% with what you're saying. And I appreciate the education because okay, I know what I was going to ask you. So a teenage boy who is not circumcised, he's, going through puberty, being sexually aroused. And let's say his skin doesn't go all the way back, but he starts having sex with, a girl his age.
And he's not cleaning himself?
And the skin won't go back. Will it once they start having sex and it goes in?
Honestly, I don't know. Because again, I'm not uncircumcised.
Right.
But from the stories of my boys, they they're the ones who pull it back from when they, that's what they tell me. Yeah, I pull my shit back and I insert it. You know what I'm saying? It's
right.
Like they're doing it. I just think it's, again, like when I read the report on how it could cause women to have cervix cancer, I was like,
that's crazy.
I still don't even understand how that's possible when I read that article.
I mean, it makes sense.
But as far as bacteria, it's dangerous for him too, because, it's such an exchange of bodily fluids. So imagine he lay down with somebody that's uncircumcised and he doesn't clean himself up right away. Can you imagine the type of infections that he could possibly go, especially if she has a yeast infection or something like that? That's you're not taking care of yourself. And I'm not trying to bash anyone who's circumcised or uncircumcised. Like, this is not what it's about. It's just education at this point.
Yeah.
I think it's more as long as the person is doing what they got to do, then you're good. I remember I saw an episode of Sex Sent Me to the ER. And it was a dude who was uncircumcised, and after intercourse, she was fucking burning. And he gave her a really bad infection because he was not taking care of himself. So him laying down with her gave her, what's the green shit? The gonorrhea. As a result, it's bacteria. Think about it. That's why they tell you, both male and female, you got to clean down there.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
But final thoughts.
Thank you for the education time, Jason, on part of the
human anatomy,
the male part, sex ed class, because God knows that most of us didn't get that in high school. Only some high schools. Did you guys get sex ed in high school?
Yeah, it was mandatory.
Really?
I took my first sex ed was 4th grade.
Oh my God.
And then fourth grade, we learned about human anatomy.
I mean,
and then 5th grade, we took a course on sex. And then in high school, we took a course on health. One of the craziest things this kid asked, I'll never forget, he goes to the teacher. He's like, why are we attracted to women? Everyone laughed at him. But then it got quiet because it's like, why are we attracted to women? And that's when I learned there's
why are some people attracted to the same sex? Like
it's a chemical balance in your head that you produce that makes you arousal. So that's why I can't say it's a choice. You know what I'm saying? It's a chemical balance that creates in your mind that causes you to be aroused. That's why when you have sex, you have boosts of serotonin and, what's the pleasure one? Dopamine.
Dopamine.
You know what I'm saying? So when he asked that question, it really gave insight, and people went from laughing to be like, damn, I really didn't think about it like that. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's very important for people to educate themselves on these standards, because again, some people don't cut it due to, preferences religious wise. Some people cut it due to religion, and some people want to be as natural as they could possibly be. But I could tell you this, men will run into complications if they do not get circumcised as they get older. This is a fact.
Wait, so like, how does, okay, so now we've established that if you're circumcised, then it causes less health infection risks, and it's good on that part. But as far as intimacy and pleasure, obviously you've always been circumcised, so you don't know how it is to be on the other side. But
we would have to get a guest on a woman who's been with somebody who's not circumcised. I wouldn't be able to tell you that I don't get penetrated, So
I mean, as far as a male, like as a man. So like,
to me, I from what my boys tell me, it's just the same shit, different toilet. Same shit, different toilet.
Okay, interesting. Because I mean, obviously, sex for women is different than what a man's experience.
Yep.
So it's just interesting to see your point of view, because, I mean, obviously, there are very few cultures where women do get circumcised. But by doing so, you basically cut off a lot of the nerve endings, reducing.
They do this in the Middle East a lot.
Yeah, so
I saw a video that was with like gypsies from like Romania and whatnot. They have a procedure where they put the girl on the table. She's anywhere from 12 to early teenage years, and they forcefully get their way in to make her bleed, to prove that she's a virgin and that she hasn't had sex with anyone. And I was watching that documentary. I think it was on Vice, and it made me so uncomfortable because the way that girl was crying, it's not like they do it in privacy. The whole family's there to see that. Like, I'm telling you, there's a lot of cultures in the world that I don't agree with. Right. But as an adult, I have to respect it. Because it's part of their culture. So as we close out, love, tell them where they can find you.
All right, you guys, if you want to find me on Instagram, besides the 1424 podcast, you can find me on my private. My brain just shut down. It's my name, Natalie.